सेव किया था ना?
मैं सिर्फ इसलिए गया था क्योंकि उसने मुझे कॉल किया, that's it. But listen तो.
Save it for someone else.
जिंदगी में सेव करना जरूरी है, मगर जब बात पैसों की हो, सिर्फ सेविंग से काम नहीं चलेगा। इक्विटी म्यूचुअल फंड्स में इन्वेस्ट कीजिए और अपने सेविंग्स को आगे बढ़ने का मौका दीजिए।
Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme-related documents carefully.
If you watch television when the election results were coming in, or indeed if you've been watching television since then, you might be forgiven for thinking that there was just one election. You might be forgiven for thinking that there was an election in Gujarat and that was it. Because frankly, that's all television is really focused on. And we've been told again and again that it was a stupendous victory, a victory of the kind Gujarat has never seen before, that it's a huge achievement, that everybody in the BJP, especially the Prime Minister, deserves to be congratulated for it. And that's right. I mean, all of that is correct. It is a stupendous victory. But it's not the whole story because it wasn't the only election. There were two other elections. There was an election in Himachal Pradesh and there was the day before that an election for the Delhi Municipal Corporation. If we look at the election results, we've got to break away from the news TV syndrome and look at all three of them. And then the picture that emerges is more complicated. Effectively, those results gave every party a reason to claim victory. The BJP, as we've seen, can legitimately claim victory because of Gujarat, but so can the Congress. The Congress managed to win in Himachal Pradesh, a state that the BJP was very confident about and where many people had said the Congress is in no position to win. And AAP managed to win the Delhi municipal elections for like 15 years or so. The BJP's won the municipality. AAP has won by landslides in state polls, but when it comes to the municipality assembly election results don't necessarily translate. The BJP used to control most of the municipalities and AAP was always frustrated. This time around, AAP beat the BJP. It didn't beat the BJP by as much as the TV exit polls had said, but it was still a substantial and convincing victory. So essentially all this is about spin. It's about the TV spin of only one election and it's about the party political spin of how everyone has won something. But actually, let's get beyond the spin. Let's look at the real takeaways from this election. Let's look first at the BJP. What Mr. Modi has achieved in Gujarat, and there's no doubt about it, it's not the BJP that's achieved it as much as it's Mr. Modi personally, is stupendous. I think only once before has any party won 7 assembly elections in a row, and that was the left in West Bengal. What Mr. Modi has done is something that the BJP had never ever imagined when they first sent him to Gujarat to take over as Chief Minister. How has he done it? Well, you'll hear many different visions and versions of what happened. But here's the truth. He's done it because, and let's be honest, he has transformed Gujarat. When he was sent to Gujarat, it was a demoralized state, a state that felt it had been left behind by the rest of India. Gujarat now is India's leading state. He's transformed it. Think about it. The two most powerful people in India, Mr. Modi himself and Amit Shah, are Gujaratis. The two richest people in India, Gautam Adani and Mukesh Ambani, are Gujaratis. We are in a situation where Ahmedabad, Baroda, Surat are cities now filled with millionaires. These are people who've made money in so-called sunrise sectors, in things like pharmaceuticals, not in the textile industry, which was once, until it went sick, the basis of all wealth in Gujarat. So Mr. Modi has told the people of Gujarat, you're not left behind. You're really the most important people in India, and he's delivered in terms of economic prosperity. That's a huge, huge achievement. And in addition to his own charisma, that makes the BJP almost unbeatable. Almost unbeatable, really, in Gujarat. That is why Mr. Modi is able to deliver landslide after landslide. And that is why the BJP has won the largest, hugest, most massive victory in Gujarat's history. So that's, I think, one takeaway. You've got to recognize that when it comes to Gujarat, there's never been a leader like Mr. Modi. Not since the days of Gandhiji and Sardar Patel have Gujaratis flocked to a leader in the way in which they flocked to Mr. Modi. That's the first takeaway. The second takeaway is about the Congress. Now, every time we do one of these conversations or I write an article, there's a sort of unwritten assumption that goes through it, which is that the Congress was once a great party, it's now dying, so sad, it could have gone otherwise, etc. And this is helped by the fact that the Congress never wins. In every assembly election, we sit around and discuss why did the Congress lose the election, what could it have done differently. But in Himachal, the Congress won, and it won a very substantial and convincing victory. It won even though Himachal is JP Nadda's territory. The BJP president was involved in every decision. The BJP put everything it could into Himachal. The Congress was outspent, 5:1? 10:1. Even then, it managed to defeat the BJP. What that victory tells us is that the BJP is not invincible. There's a view, and it's a view that most political observers have accepted, that when it comes to a Hindi-speaking state, when it comes to the north, the BJP is unbeatable. This may be true perhaps of Uttar Pradesh, but it wasn't true of Rajasthan. It wasn't even true of Madhya Pradesh till the BJP came to power through the back door. And we've seen again, it isn't true of Himachal. The Congress can win elections if the Congress puts its mind to it. From all indications, the Congress won this election by focusing on local issues, by focusing on grassroots workers, by focusing on the issues that mattered to voters. Rahul Gandhi didn't even go to campaign. It wasn't that kind of big national campaign with the usual attacks on Mr. Modi or whatever. It was a nitty-gritty campaign. The campaign was fought very well, and the Congress won a well-deserved victory. So for the Congress, there's a lot to be happy about. A party that always loses, a party that wakes up after every election result to read its own obituaries, woke up, I think, with quiet satisfaction. I say quiet because the Congress hasn't made a huge song and dance about this victory, but there is much to be pleased with. And then there's AAP. Now, AAP is a complicated party to look at. Mr. Kejriwal keeps telling us that it's the party of the future. He keeps telling us that it is the only opposition to the BJP. He keeps acting as though Indian politics is divided between two national parties, the BJP and AAP. Now, there's a problem with this because AAP really only exists in Delhi. It exists now in Punjab mainly because the Congress handed the state on a platter to them with terrible misjudgments about personnel, about strategy, and all kinds of things. But can AAP consider itself a national party? I'm not sure. What it can say is that it's certainly the party that dominates Delhi. By winning the municipal elections, it has proved that even in the state where Mr. Modi lives, even in the national capital, the voters have gone for AAP. And they've gone for AAP with, I think, some justification because AAP has worked at the mohalla level. It has done things for grassroots people. It has done things for the poor. It's done things for people at the margins of society. And they've responded well. And they have given AAP the kind of vote of confidence that I think it deserves in Delhi. But does this take us any further? Does this mean that the national scenario is changed? It does to an extent. It proves that the Congress isn't dead yet. There's still life in the Congress. It proves also that the BJP is not invincible. But if the Congress is going to fight the BJP, what is the strategy? It's not clear because the Congress now, which is suspicious of the media, never really talks honestly. But from what I can gather, there's been a calculation in the Congress. The calculation is as follows. It should stop thinking of itself as a party that has to stand at every election in every state. It should focus on what it's good at. It doesn't have much money. It is seriously pummeled in terms of resources by the BJP. People who give money to the Congress often fear what consequences there will be. So what does the Congress do with limited resources? What does the Congress do at a time when morale is low, when people are leaving and joining other parties? I think the decision has been to concentrate on states where it's likely to win. And let's be honest, assume the Congress had thrown everything in Gujarat. Given what I've just said about Gujaratis and Mr. Modi, it would have lost. There was no question of that. So did it really need to spend so much money in Gujarat? Did it need to devote man-hours, energy, time, attention to Gujarat? I think the conclusion was no. Himachal was worth it. There was a chance of victory, which was a gamble that paid off. And why not wait till next year for Karnataka, where the incumbent BJP government is unpopular and the Congress stands a chance of winning? It's possible, because the Congress organization, Karnataka, is good, that it will actually pull off an upset and win the next election. That's why Rahul Gandhi has been walking through Karnataka on his yatra. That's why former state ministers in Karnataka have been mobilized to oppose this government. It's an idea. So I think you will see the Congress back in action. You will see it fighting in Karnataka, and maybe it'll win. Maybe it'll pull off some kind of upset of the kind it pulled off in Himachal. But even this leaves us with many questions. First of all, why is the Congress in such a bad way in Gujarat? If you remember, at the last assembly election, Mr. Modi won, and I think it was always clear to me at least that he was going to win. The Congress actually did a very respectable performance. It showed itself as being a party that was capable of challenging the BJP in its strongest state. All of that is forgotten. It never followed up on that near success may be pushing it, never followed up with that strong showing. Many people who joined the Congress left in disgust. The Congress organization was in tatters. It did not help that Ahmed Patel, who used to really run Gujarat for the Congress, passed away. But the Congress sat in Delhi. It had its own problems about who would be president, would there be an election, what would happen. And in the process, it ignored Gujarat, and it let Gujarat vanish as far as the Congress is concerned. It's not even on the horizon now, which is why the Congress did so badly in Gujarat. So can this strategy of focusing only on states where it's likely to win and ignoring those where the BJP is very strong, can this strategy pay off? I think there are questions to be asked there. The Congress will say it's not a strategy, it's a compulsion. We don't have the money, we don't have the energy to fight everywhere. Yeah, but you were like the party that ruled India for so long. Until Mr. Modi came to power, you'd been in power for 10 years. Have you really been reduced to this? That's a question I think the Congress needs to answer. The BJP also needs to answer the what if not Modi question. Himachal was not about Mr. Modi. Himachal was about local issues, and the BJP was defeated, though it was a Hindi-speaking state. Wherever Mr. Modi is involved and his personal charisma is undeniable, the BJP manages to pull off victories. In Uttar Pradesh, it was Mr. Modi's charisma, Yogi Adityanath's charisma, and Mr. Amit Shah's organizational ability that pulled off that spectacular victory. But if you leave it to the JP Naddas of this world, you let Mr. Modi concentrate on Gujarat, are you really guaranteed any kind of victory? And in Himachal, the image we have of the BJP as being this really strongly organized party which fights every election like a military campaign was in tatters. There were rebel candidates, there was indiscipline, there were squabbles, kind of squabbles you'd have associated only with the Congress once upon a time. So there are, I think, lessons for the BJP in this. Yes, it can win if Mr. Modi is the face. Yes, it can win if Amit Shah is organizing. But you can't keep winning state after state with that formula. So in many ways, Himachal may be a wake-up call. That leaves us with AAP. Mr. Kejriwal says that his target is the BJP. He talks about fighting with the BJP, about defeating the BJP. But the reality is very different. If you look at the policies followed by AAP, if you look at the rhetoric, if you look at the slogans, there's nothing remotely anti-BJP about them. In terms of Hindutva, Mr. Kejriwal has now packaged himself as the younger brother who Mr. Modi mysteriously does not acknowledge, because he's doing pretty much what Mr. Modi does, whether it comes to Ayodhya or that absurd press statement he made recently about putting pictures of gods and goddesses on our currency notes so they could bless us. So what Mr. Kejriwal is doing is taking the Hindutva idea to its most basic and banal level and hoping to win votes from that. He is not touching on any issues that could affect the BJP's support base. For instance, if you go into Gujarat and you say you're going to oppose the BJP, you would expect the Bilkis Banu case and the fact that the people who were responsible for those murders and that gang rape being let off, you'd think he'd talk about it. Nope, he didn't. AAP never made that an issue. It was really a sort of chota BJP offering a newer alternative with its little version of Hindutva. That, I think, is something we need to come to terms with Mr. Kejriwal. Wherever the BJP is a factor outside of Delhi, he is not a factor. He won in Punjab, the one state he has won outside of Delhi, where the BJP is not really a factor. He was fighting the Congress. He was, to some extent, fighting the Akalis. The BJP never does very well in Punjab. There was no question of the BJP winning. Everywhere else that he's gone, he's not really succeeded in fighting the BJP. He's not succeeded in defeating the BJP. He spent his time, therefore, imitating the BJP. What is Mr. Kejriwal's real agenda? Well, I would argue it hasn't changed since the Anna Hazare movement. Remember the Anna Hazare movement? The so-called India against corruption thing? It was created to fight the Congress government that was then in power. Its rhetoric, its ideas were anti-Congress. It had people from the RSS in the audience. People like Sadhvi Rithamra came and sat on the stage. There was no doubt which side they were on. They certainly weren't on the side of secularism or the Congress. I would argue that hasn't changed at all. Mr. Kejriwal's real opponent is still the Congress. Wherever he thinks the Congress is weak, he turns up and hopes to supplant it. That's what he did in Gujarat. And yes, he sometimes succeeds in winning some of the Congress's votes. He never actually, outside of Punjab, does as well as he's expected to. If you listen to him about Gujarat, he said he was going to form the government, and sympathetic political analysts gave him 20% of the vote. He got half of that, nearly half of that, and he got, 5 seats? So he was never really a factor in Gujarat. But what he did do was cut into the Congress vote. And that's what he's done everywhere. If you look at the Delhi municipal elections, which have been portrayed as a big defeat for the BJP actually held on to most of its vote share. It's the Congress vote share that collapsed, and Mr. Kejriwal got that. If you look at Gujarat, the BJP actually increased its vote share. Mr. Kejriwal's votes came not from the BJP, but from taking the Congress vote. So essentially, Mr. Kejriwal's battle is not so different from Mr. Modi's or Mr. Amit Shah's. He too wants a Congress Mukt Bharat. He's not really interested in fighting for secularism or defeating Hindutva or defeating the BJP. It's a sobering lesson because I think the consequences are now being felt. Early analysis of statistics from the Delhi municipal elections suggests that he's losing some of his Muslim support base in Delhi. The image he had of being above it, incorruptible, after all he came out of India against corruption, remember? That's taken a huge battering with the number of his ministers who've been accused of corruption or sent off to jail, massage parlors to spend their time. Given that, I think Mr. Kejriwal has a problem. Yes, he will fight the Congress, and we all know that the Congress is in trouble. And maybe he will take over some of that old Congress base. But fighting the BJP, forget it. Mr. Modi is on top. He's not invincible, but as of now, he will stay at the top.